So recently I watched The Incredibles 2 after years of trying to avoid it, and I didn't hate the film. Okay, calm down. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. It was nowhere near as good as the first one, and it was actually quite uninspired and bland. It felt like every other traditional superhero story out there, while the first movie was bold and unique. It's kind of hard to believe that this story they created
was the best one they could come up with.
So you know me, I got to researching the movie's development and found that many of the early ideas for the film were a bit more interesting than what we got. But before we start,
I do know where you live.
so unless you want to end up like Geezer Beam, be sure to subscribe so we can hit the 70,000 sub goal before the end of the year. So early on, there were two directions Brad Bird wanted to take The Incredibles to. The first idea involved the concept of AI. Now this is about the extent we know about this original plan. However, when Brad Bird says AI, I'm assuming the plot would have revolved around an AI system going rogue somehow and attacking. We actually see elements of this original concept in a deleted scene. In this moment, Mr. Incredible visits Edna at her home. However, something goes very wrong. The scene is tense and dynamic with its action, not only showing how powerful the AI can be, but also how this AI concept would operate in the plot. It's possible that somehow the AI systems Edna used within her home became more widespread in the world, making it possible for the rogue AI to take over and run amok within the city, or even the world. It's not clear what exactly this AI was, but I think it would be cool if it was somehow connected to the Omnidroids. Remember, at the end of the first Incredibles, the Omnidroid began adapting to Syndrome's control and gained a form of restricted self-awareness. Just imagine, perhaps, when they beat the Omnidroid, the AI never fully went away. Instead, it still existed and continued to evolve over time. Since the AI was built off the idea of killing supers, it could explain why it immediately attacked Mr. Incredible when he showed up. This is all just speculation, and I really have no idea on what the story could have been. Another idea was the show business concept. In this iteration of the plot, superheroes come back into the limelight, not as traditional superheroes, but more as reality TV and game show stars, characters that purely exist for entertainment. This is an interesting idea because it could have had some interesting commentary surrounding whether or not heroes really care about saving people or if they just enjoy the spotlight the role gives them. This could allow for a deep dive into Mr. Incredible's glory days and his past celebrity status, but it might be a bit too much of a repeat of the last movie. Anyways, this idea of heroes being TV stars did make it into the film in a form of another deleted scene, which was meant to explore how some people who come to audition may be very dangerous thanks to their temperament.
Please, can't we just take a minute to talk
You're
about
blocking the door, Russ.
We see this in this moment where an auditioner becomes upset because their powers aren't exactly TV friendly.
Ah! Ow! Whoa! See? Surprising, right?
They attack Mr. Dever out of frustration, but are immediately taken out by their own venom. This idea of show business heroes did make it into the final film very loosely, in the form of publishing Elastigirl's actions. Though in this deleted scene featuring Elastigirl, the idea of televising the actions of heroes is still present in a much more overt way. These two early ideas for The Incredibles 2 are really interesting, and if you were to ask me, I'm leaning a bit more into the reality show idea because I feel the concept is dramatically more unique than a story about rogue AI. However, Brad Bird would reject these initial concepts for the story as he felt that the ideas took away from the family drama aspect of The Incredibles and failed to really challenge the family in a believable way. So the story idea was reworked and the villain was changed last minute to the screenslaver. I don't have to tell you that the final product was divisive. Many feel that Incredibles 2 is a lot more uninspired and bland compared to the first movie, which was one of the best Pixar films of all time. It really does feel like there's something missing when you're watching Incredibles 2, and I'm sure many of you had your own ideas on the direction the plot should have went. Perhaps the film, instead of being a direct sequel after the original movie, could have been a prequel movie instead. Maybe a movie set during the golden age of superheroes we're told so much about. Another suggestion would be to make a film based on the multitude of heroes we see in the audio tapes. Many of these characters are clearly very popular among the fanbase, like Beam and Gamma Jack, so there could be some potential there. I don't think there's any point in exploring the past, especially when it comes to these audio tapes, as I feel like these heroes are interesting because we never see them and only know about them because of their deaths. One thing that did baffle me about Incredibles 2 is how we never followed up or acknowledged the deaths of the many heroes by the Omnidroids. You'd think the dozens of supers being killed by Syndrome would have been a big deal, but it's never addressed in any significant way.
He didn't really understand jokes or how to set people at ease.
There was a deleted scene, however, where Bob gives a speech about his friend Beam, how he met him, their time as heroes together, the tragedy of his life, and the noble sacrifice he made before his death. Perhaps there could have been a way to really go into the legacy of these heroes to create something very compelling. But ultimately, I do think that an Incredibles 2 was unnecessary to make. The first film is perfect as it was, and I really feel that a sequel was not needed. But hey, it happened and this is the film we got. The film itself is not awful, but it will never be as incredible as it could have been.